What is going on, people? It's Matt from Liquid Loans, and in this one, I'm excited to be joined by one of my favorite streamers by a long country mile. This legend runs the infamous Happy Hour every Friday, a fan favorite in the Hex and PulseChain ecosystem. So with no further ado, the one, the only, Mr. Crypto Cabana. Wow, man, that backdrop though.
Happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
No, finally got you on, and
I know we've been working for like what 3 months now.
Back and forth Telegram messages and Twitter DMs and what's not, but it was worth the wait, man. That is an amazing backdrop, and I think the sun came out today for us, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like perfect water. Been here a few days, southwestern Florida, and yeah, the wind calmed down today. I mean, you're seeing it as beautiful as it's been here the past few days, like emerald water. It's amazing. Yeah.
I'm not jealous at all, not at all.
Okay.
I love staying in gloomy London. You know, it's really
gloomy London. Yes.
Yeah, man. The beach. I mean, you're staying on brand today. You literally got the Windows, I think 95 backdrop, and
it's not a green screen. Somebody asked me if it was a green screen on Happy Hour. I think they were joking, but yeah, I can't. You know, it's all real. So yeah.
It could be though, literally. Like that could be a great green screen, right? You could take a picture of that and put that on a green screen. And
actually, I might. Yeah, for like my actual Happy Hour backdrop, that'd be pretty cool, right? So
I love Happy Hour, man. It's like, you know, you're cool as ice, and it's chilled. You get the best out the guests. What was your inspiration for it, apart from the booze, obviously?
That was just like a minor bonus because it is fun to find people like Motley and Big K who like to, you know, they're fully capable of throwing down and, you know, getting, you know, casual and loose and whatnot. But yeah, that's just the bonus of it. It really is just like I wanted to kind of like find just like a niche that I don't know if it was necessarily needed. I'm happy like it's there now and people enjoy it, certainly. But I wanted to at least try it out. I was like, man, what if we had like kind of like a more casual show? I mean, we have so many great analysts, how-to videos with like channels like Hodl Dog and Crypto Coffee. And we have like, you know, a lot of guys that look into charts. You got Wiz, you got Axis, you know, and Dollar Cost. I know you had him on, you know, quite recently. He can analyze, you know, all sorts of different cryptos, including the entire Hex ecosystem. And I don't know, just wanted like a cool little, you know, chill vibe. And we jokingly say, you know, it's entertainment, but it's also educational, informal, but informative. So we, like you said, we have some great guests on. I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of the OG community. So there are many, or pretty much all of them, if they can fit it in their schedule, they're just happy to come on and hang out with us and chill. And I'm so just kind of blessed to have friendships with those guys. A lot of them I've met by now, but some of them I haven't. And yeah, I can't wait to meet them actually in person.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, you're definitely blessed because you always have, you know, all the OGs and, you know, all the good influencers on there. And when I first got into Hex and, you know, was learning all about it, I was definitely attracted to the vibe because you're right. It's fun, it's entertaining, but there's an education in there too. And like I said, it's chill. You've got the quiz sometimes. You've got you streaming from the beach. You've got people telling you their tipple. So yeah, it's definitely working out. How long has it been going for now?
It is a year and a half, maybe. I think Vince and I originally we started it in December, so 2 Decembers ago. So I think it's probably a year and a half old ish. So yeah, and shout out to him too. I mean, he was, you know, he kind of pushed me and thought it was like, hey, yeah, let's do this. You know, I know Vince is known as like the quiet type or whatever, but he gave me kind of like an extra push and, you know, was willing to, you know, do joke offs and stuff like that just for entertainment value. And yeah, he's smart. He just doesn't say a lot, but he's a very intelligent guy, man.
Yeah, Crypto Vince is cool. I enjoy his tweets and his takes on stuff. And
yeah, he talks a lot on Twitter. I'll say that.
Yeah, I like his takes on stuff. I think we have. I agree with him on a lot of things, and obviously he's one of the Hex OGs. But what about you, man? What's your story? How did you get into Hex and I guess even crypto before that?
So I started I mean, if we want to go all the way to the beginning, I started in traditional markets. So pretty much since right into college, I was just very intrigued by it, just trying to earn additional wealth, not even income at the time, but, wealth, because, dividend investing is kind of like for the older generation, but now we have staking in crypto, which is kind of for the younger generation, but we can get into that. But yeah, it's pretty much just how could I multiply some of my discretionary income? And, I just fooled around with stocks like Adobe. I think that was like one of my first winners. I mean, this is like 20 years ago, something like that. And that dates me a little bit. But yeah, it's like I started in that and pretty much did that for years and years. And then I guess in the 2017 run up with Bitcoin, 2018, pretty much when the first time we went towards 20K, of course, how could you not hear about it? And I was like, what is this? This is like, is this some, just kind of, I'd heard of it before, but when I say, what is this? I wanted to really dive in. So I just started reading, started watching videos, read a, believe it or not, Cody Willard, who Richard came on my stream, the hedge fund manager. He wrote actually, but it was a basic book. He talked through Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and just kind of like a bare bones kind of thing. I mean, that was like the first thing that really kind of opened my eyes to the entire thing. It was like a quick read, 100 pages. But I was like, okay, well, I really don't want to sit at a desk or run my business until I'm like 70 years old. So kind of in the back of my mind, I've always been on the lookout for how can I speed that process up? And the more I dug into crypto, the more I saw that this was the fastest appreciating asset class in the world. And if I can make something happen patiently, mind you, patiently, it's here. It's not trading. But looking at cycles, I mean, you could make some massive gains for yourself and kind of secure your own financial position in life. And I was like, well, I think I want to, kind of give that a go. And so I just kind of went into Bitcoin a little bit on the way up. I think actually my first crypto, I think might have been Litecoin. So I was hooked after that because I caught like a double in like a week or two. And I was like, what is this? Because in traditional markets, you don't get a double for, maybe in a bull market, 6 months, 12 months, maybe longer. And I was like, okay, this is for real. And I started looking into it, and was very patient with Bitcoin. Didn't try to trade it, watched it pop, come all the way down, stair step down, to like the 14s. And then I believe it was like the 10s and the 6s. And finally, when that 6,000 level broke and went below 4 or 5K, I got in heavy. That was like the moment I was waiting for. And I was like, okay, well, I've been preserving this capital. I took it from, traditional markets, and I was like, I don't see this thing going to zero. I see it, being in a cycle. I think it's going to come back. And it did. And then I, went into Ethereum. So mainly I was a Bitcoin and Ethereum guy. And all along the way, I watched, Richard Hart videos back from the Bitcoin Hex, title of the coin. I just kept an eye on it. And the more I watched and listened, the more I just heard the truth of it. It was unfiltered. It wasn't, him trying to sell you anything. There were no ref links. There was no agenda behind it. It really sounded like he wanted to create something to, benefit the world, and also, to be like, what, I built this thing. And I just got that feeling. And, certainly the I built this thing, for Richard has come true. Like he's he has all the bragging rights there, and I'm so thankful that he did it. So during the adoption amplifier, I waited. I put in just a smidge on the first day, just to say I got in the first day, and I pulled this over time. I was like, man, half an ETH here, a tenth of an ETH here. Then we do like an ETH at a time, because Ethereum was what, a couple $100 back then. And finally, right around close to the bottom, I finished my stack of ETH in there. And then over time, to sum it up, my Bitcoin eventually went into Hex. I had physical gold. I sold that, and I had put that in Chainlink, had a nice run in that, sold that, put that into Hex, and the rest is history, man. So, Hex is certainly the end because, we have PulseChain, PulseX now. I'm all about those as well. Liquid loans I sacked for. The Maxi coins, pretty much this entire ecosystem has just blown up. And to be there from the beginning, it's just been such a ride, and with such great people, meeting them on stream or in person along the way. And I cannot wait to meet more of you like yourself, man. So are you coming over to the States for like PulseCon or anything like that?
I'm not sure yet. That's in September, right? So it's getting close, isn't it?
Oh yeah, a couple months, less than. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd love to, but I'm not sure. We're talking about it if we're going to come over, if some of us are going to come over, if not. But if not for PulseCon at some point, obviously I will. And I want to meet. I met a few of the Americans when they came over for the 2nd anniversary. Unfortunately, you weren't there.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to definitely making it because it's just crazy. Like Hexicans in every corner of the globe, and obviously everyone's different. They come from a different background, but we have this common thread: Hex, Pulse. Real DeFi, not your keys, not your coins, all this stuff. And it actually, just going back to what you said, it's actually really interesting to hear your story, because in some ways, yes, it's like, oh, I went into stocks and shares and then I went into crypto. But in other ways, obviously investing in stocks and that prior gave you good patience, because you saw Bitcoin high, right, 20,000 or whatever, and you waited for it to come back, where most people that get into crypto, including myself, they hear about an all-time high, and then you're just like, I've got to buy it before it never comes back. Yeah. So you must have learned that patience in the stock market, right?
That is the number one rule of the game. They say, just patience is key. Don't short a dull market. Don't marry an investment. Stuff. All those things are true they're said for a reason, and they're true. Time in the market is greater than timing the market, as Richard always says. And that's one of the many things I just try to preach nowadays is don't go out and make something happen because it's not going to happen on your time frame. Let it happen. But and I think it will happen, especially, if you're in the right coins, but you have to, don't get into leverage. You have to let it occur naturally and over, the course of years. Otherwise, if you try to trade and make it in a month or 3, you're going to wreck yourself, and then it's going to take you so much longer to start back over.
100%. I mean, there's pretty much, unless you're the anomaly in crypto, even in crypto, right? It's the fastest appreciating asset ever, but it's still, there's no real get rich quick. You can, shave a lot of time off, but really in crypto, you're still looking at, years in the time frame. And people that think they're going to throw in $1,000 in a couple of months, that's going to be a couple of million. Most of the time, it's going to be a rug pull. So
and it's like people want to change their life in like weeks or months, and it's like for a goal that large, it'll take years, but it's the rest of your life. Don't you have years to see something play out if it's proven to play out in cycles, over and over? It just takes patience.
Delayed gratification, right? We're all being taught.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah.
And it's true. Every area of your life requires it. Your health, your fitness, your self-development. You hear people, I think I heard, who was it? One of the old school kind of self-development guys, Brian Tracy or something, talking about this. And he was saying, like, it takes probably 5 to 7 years to become the top of your field. And people start moaning, oh, I've got to wait 5 to 7 years. He's like, yeah, but you're going to wait 5 to 7 years anyway, right? For life. So you may as well get to work now.
Yeah. And, having to start over and, having your account go to zero, I haven't really, I guess I've had that like one time early on, just in the stock market, not crypto. But that was part of the learning phase. Failure, when you fail, you learn. And if you don't learn from failure, I guess you quit, and, maybe it might not be the thing for you, but failure presents, some of the greatest opportunities in your life to learn. And I'm happy I had, some bad investments, because that taught me what to look for in the better ones.
Yep, no failure, only feedback. I mean, I've put my money into a few rug pulls, you know, in the early
Yeah, right.
days, and then you're like, oh, okay, I jumped in with both feet. I didn't do the research,
Hmm.
and just waiting, patience, man. Like you said, waiting. If it's a legit project and the markets, you know, they follow fractal patterns, they do come back, they do come down. So being patient. What do you think right now that's going on in the markets? Are we in for a lot more max pain, in your opinion, or are we just getting started?
I mean, we've been started for a while, I guess, right?
Mm,
If we're just talking crypto markets, I mean, I'm following traditional markets now too because I'm still um, generating fiat. I'm not certainly selling any crypto for
mm.
other things, but I'm generating fiat to put in to supplement some traditional market investments because I do like to diversify. But yeah, in terms of crypto, um, we've come down from like 65, 69K, something like that in Bitcoin, and we're at 20K. So we felt it for a long time. Now, another 50% drop could take us to 10K ish. I guess we're at 20K right now, or sub 20K. And I think we could get there. It's funny that you asked that because I was of the thought that this cycle, I didn't put any money on it. But I've had discussions with it, and I'm on stream saying it. I was like, I think we can get to like six-figure Bitcoin, and we got to 69K, and that was it. And I was fine to be proven wrong because I did not again put any money towards it, and I was just sitting back and watching. Now, if it does get to 15K, 11K, I will be putting some money back into Bitcoin just for a long-term hold kind of thing. Same with Ethereum. If we get like 500, 600 sub that Ethereum, I'll just buy a bit. Plus, you have to have ETH anyway if you're dealing with your hex stakes on the Ethereum chain. So it's good to have anyway. So why not pick some up cheap if you have stakes 5-10 years out? Who knows what the price of ETH is going to be? So why not pick a little bit up and supplement that?
Well, we definitely know where it's been, right? And obviously, when we look at where an asset's been, most of the time, unless it's a bad investment, it will get back there at least. So you buy an ETH at $500 and could have a 10x there. Maybe within a year or two. Bitcoin too at 10,000 or 11,000. If it gets there, though, I think Richard Hart might break Twitter with the amount of tweets that he'll be
I
putting out.
think so too. And even if he gets like sub 15K, I mean that's in my eyes that's a win.
Yeah.
And I mean he was really all right. I don't want to like give him a victory yet, but he deserves credit because at 69K or roundabouts, he was calling say hey that's the top. Well, we're kind of at the top of the last cycle at 20K, so he called that so far. That's worth a lot in my opinion. But
Guy's
yeah,
never wrong by the looks of it.
if we get 15 or 11, oh boy, yeah, you're right. Twitter's gonna break. So yeah.
How about your friend Cody? How's he doing these days?
He's good. He's good. I was just on a call with him for some of his traditional market stuff. But yeah, he's good. I tried to I've tried to get him back on stream. He says he's willing to do it, but we'll see. If anything, I'd love to have just like a conversation with him and I, like you're doing now, just talking his beginnings in the crypto traditional markets, where he thinks we're at. I know he's short Ethereum right now. He's been short Ethereum, so he's called that one pretty darn well. So he's been on the right side of this trade. It's just the Hex thing, man. I can't get by it because I asked him about it before it ever launched in the adoption amplifier. And I've told this story before, and I was like, man, you should take a look at this. And he just emails me back a video of Richard Hart and John McAfee. And he's like, you mean this guy? He's like, I don't, there's no way that this is going to take off or something like that. I have it somewhere, but it was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, it's the typical response of just like tunnel vision. Who's this guy in the top hat? Especially he's talking to McAfee, and depending upon, I'm a fan of McAfee, but depending upon where you're from, your background, you might not like the guy. Yeah. And especially if he's talking to Richard Hart. So I guess traditional market guys just put that together and be like, yep, don't like that. I see these together, and that's it. So it's just like, man, that was a bad take, and here I am, doing great in crypto, and there he is, not without Hex, but I mean he's doing decent directionally with Bitcoin and Ethereum, but yeah, I remind him about that one every now and then.
He should be doing a lot better, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he falls into the camp, which a lot of people do, where they just can't get past the braggadocious or the complete different. Even before, obviously, the outrage marketing, Richard was very different to other people anyway.
Yeah.
And like you said, obviously the locks and tunnel vision, and then I've got friends in legacy finance too, and then the confirmation bias comes in where they don't want to be wrong, so they double down even more, and it's like, but look at the chart.
Yeah.
So
the charts don't lie, man. So the charts don't lie.
It'll be interesting to see him come on, because I think I enjoyed that stream with him and Richard, but obviously it became very adversarial, should I say, and then no one's backing down, and I don't think anyone's going to start to concede and learn anything from that. But it was interesting.
Yeah, and looking back, I mean, I've watched it back a few times, and that's all on Cody, in my opinion. I mean, Richard tried to calm things down, and Cody was just like shouting at his Prius or whatever it was. I don't really know, but that's the joke, I guess. But or was it? Yeah, I'm streaming from a Toyota. That was the joke, I guess. But and then Richard,
a Toyota. So.
Yeah. And then Richard's finally, you just see him, and he was like, "You know what, mother," and just went. I was like, "Okay, guys." And then Funding Jim was there on screen. Some of his facial reactions were outstanding. And we're just like, "Oh man, we're just gonna like let these two."
It was kind of like, because there were a lot of people on stream, if I remember correctly. There was like maybe 4 or 5 of you, was there?
Yeah, I believe Jexa was on there.
Jexa, Wales, was it? There's a few of you, I think, on there.
Yeah, I think Jexa, Wales, Funding Jim, and Motley couldn't make that one. I wish he could have, and he messaged me. He's like, "Man, I wish I could have made that one." But yeah, it was a fun time, and one for the archives for sure. For sure. Far and away my channel's highest viewed video. It's like 20-some thousand views or something, and that Richard Hart will do that to you. You get the Richard Hart subscriber bump. Motley and I have talked about that. He's been on Motley's channel a couple times, and you have him on, and up go the subs. So
yeah. I mean, he just definitely brings something new to the table when he's on someone's video, and then obviously, if it bleeds, it leads. So with the Cody kind of slaying, shall we say. Everyone loves a bit of drama, but I mean, we're nearly a year, is it, since the sacrifice phase? How long is it?
Yep, I think might be this weekend. Is that right?
Wow, nearly a year. I mean that's.
But mid July, I think it was last year. So
in some ways it's gone fast. In other ways, obviously, it's been painfully slow.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Are we going to see PulseChain in 2022, or are we looking at...
all right. I've said this before, and I know Richard's been on record recently, giving the reasons for the delay. And he, reading like between the lines of what he said, I think they certainly could have launched it in mid-May when it was originally thought about being launched.
Yeah.
So I think we could have done it. I think it could be, say, if we see 11,000 Bitcoin tomorrow, I think we could see PulseChain a whole lot sooner than later. Maybe some of those optimization efforts could be, put off over time or implemented over time. And maybe, it's like, okay, it's really good and ready. I know Richard said in his stream yesterday that, some of the devs saw things in the code and he doesn't like holes in the code. And he's a perfectionist, and I love that. I want a fully functioning, wonderful blockchain when it gets launched. But at the same time, it's like you were that close in May. So I really think it comes down to perhaps like if we see a massive Bitcoin liquidation below 15K, that in my eyes signals to me, all right, start getting your ducks in a row for PulseChain. And, we've had so long to play on testnet, PulseX, everything. So if you're not ready by now, you should be. But if you want some extra time, I just, the way I'm thinking, this is just me. Once we go like sub 15K Bitcoin, if we get there, I would really start to just dot the I's, cross the T's, and get ready, because that to me would signal like we are pretty darn close, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you with that sentiment. I mean, like you said, in May, it was like, in many of the interviews, just before May and in early May, it was like, well, there's nothing left to do, right? We're pretty much there. And in that Twitter space, I think it was with Orca or something, the recent one where he kind of, addressed, oh, I'm not waiting for the bottom. He said, well, we could launch it now, but there might be some stalling of the network, and I don't want some of that. So it doesn't sound like, there's major work to be done. And
and why not? Why not optimize in this time? Especially, I'm not saying he's thinking this, but if in the back of your mind you think the overall market could go lower, why not use this time to optimize? And the closer we get to the end of this bear, and that coincides more with a launch of PulseChain, the better that chart's going to look. So why not wait just a little bit if you're optimizing all these things? So I'm all for it. I'm just saying, I'm really gonna get up on the seat, up on the wheel, if we get 15K, sub 15K Bitcoin. I'm really gonna be ready to go then.
Get on your marks, basically.
That's right.
So what about Hex then? Do you think, I mean, obviously we've seen Hex has obviously been affected in the bear market. And obviously before that, the price was hindered due to the PulseChain launch. Do you think that will see a run up with the PulseChain announcement, even though we're in the bear market?
I do. I think, we've seen it, I guess, a couple of false starts before, right? So we had the first one, I guess it was maybe last year now. And I think there was a run up then. And I think that was, I don't even remember the price. So I don't want to go there. And then I believe it was in May of this year, we saw it run up to, I think it was 20 cents. And there's definitely merit to that argument. And I don't see why we wouldn't see that again, because that would create a whole new sense of FOMO in terms of last chance to get your copy. And, because, if we're starting, you only have one chance to get them both. Otherwise, you're going to have to, buy one on one or one on the other. So.
Yeah, I think the first run up we saw, the first false start was it maybe the PulseX sacrifice? I think it ran up to 34 cents. And I was like, okay, it's back on now. We're going to, break this all-time high. But, and then, yeah, you're right. We had that 20 cents one. So I personally think it would, but I'm just wondering, because obviously it's retraced a lot, right? I don't think we'd ever see 3-cent Hex again. So it's definitely, some people are still in the camp where it's definitely correlated to Bitcoin. Others are still, no, it's definitely not correlated. What do you think?
I mean,
it
absolutely is. And people who say that it's not are, I'll say it like this. It depends upon the time frame. So if you go, back since the beginning of Hex, obviously it's not directly correlated with Bitcoin, because the massive gains have been in Hex. But if you're looking at a shorter term day-to-day trading action, then if I cannot even look at a Hex price chart or anything like that, if I just pull up an app on my phone that has the top cryptos on it and Bitcoin is down like $1,000, almost all the time Hex is going to be down in that time frame. Now, if we get, the next bull going and Hex severely outperforms, then technically, I guess, no, it's not directly correlated, because the percentage gains would be far superior in my mind and thinking for Hex. But day-to-day price action, I think the argument is there that, it is correlated with the overall crypto market. If you get some big sells, people want to take money off the table. That's in anything. I know, ideally, more Hex would be staked, but there are a lot of guys with liquid out there. I'm not one of them. I'm pretty much, 100% staked all the time, but it is what it is.
So what about when we see a PulseChain with when we see a mainnet, what would be your strategy there? Are you gonna be one of these guys who are like, okay, ETH's dead to me because I'm done with these gas fees, or are you gonna still? I'm sure you've got a lot of long stakes on ETH, so you're there for a while too.
Oh yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with liquidity pairs, and on both sides, like you said, the Ethereum side and the PulseChain side. It's going to be fascinating actually to watch that as just Hex. Let's not even get into all the other coins and what could survive and what on PulseChain versus Ethereum and what couldn't. That's a whole nother discussion and highly interesting. But just watching the two Hex coins, Hex on Ethereum and Hex, that's gonna. I'm in no rush to make any moves. Kind of. You heard me, I guess. A while back at the beginning. I'm patient. I'm not going to rush in. With any liquidity LP plays or anything like that. I think it's, in my opinion, flat out irresponsible to do that in the first week or month, maybe depending upon the pair. Short of the time frame, so I'd say I would definitely not even touch things. The first week or two. Don't plan to. I'll just let everybody else sort that out. Like I've said it before, I'm just going to grab popcorn and, watch the fireworks, because that's going to be just, oh man. I don't like to stare at screens. Richard Hart obviously, has invented things to make you stop that. But this launch, I'm going to be doing a lot of screen watching and desk sitting, because this is going to be so exciting. I'm not going to want to miss it. And I know a ton of other Hexkins OGs who sacrificed for Pulse. They're pumped for it, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing, man. Just to see, like you said, those two coins, what they do, and then when you stack on all the other, Easter eggs that we've got, PulseChain, PulseX, liquid loans, all these other things, it really is going to be just mind blowing, actually, when you think about it, right? Just that never seen before full system state copy.
Yep, absolutely. I can't wait, and yeah, that's about all I got to say, man. Because there are so many interesting possible nuggets out there. Like I was just up at a meetup in Chicago, and Freddie Quotes and I stopped by and had lunch with Johnny Chaos, and he has his own way of thinking about LPs. And then you go on other streams and you listen to other theories. So it's just sit back, don't try. If you think man, God bless you, but I'm not going to play that game. I'm going to let other people play it, and then once the dust settles, then I'll get in, and I'll feel way better about making moves. But I'm not gonna guess. That's a terrible investment strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm no OG.
Guessing big. Yeah.
Guessing big. Yeah. No. I'm just gonna mirror what you just said. Like, I'm no OG in crypto at all, but I've been around the block long enough, even in financial market, traditional markets as well, where listen to what Warren Buffett says. It's got a lot of merit. Like timing the market, like you said, always beats timing the market. And it sucks when you see stuff go down, 50, 60, 90%. But when you zoom out and you see how much you can get by just getting away from the charts and actually taking a step back. I think Randy Halasky had a good kind of plan, because he's in Europe at the moment traveling. I'm sure you've seen it. And he was saying he thought PulseChain was going to launch, while he was away. But he was like, it's kind of good, because I won't have my keys with me. So whatever happens, I can just, sit back and watch, let the chips fall where they may. So I think that's quite a good plan for everyone.
Yep. Kind of envious of that strategy, or what has turned into strategy, because he has nothing to worry about. Like, I don't see us launching, in the next month or two, maybe, if Bitcoin just absolutely crashes and my theory is correct. But yeah, it's got to be a good feeling just run around Europe without having to worry about crypto, your wallets, and you're just good to go for a while with your family. So I'm a fan of Randy. He's co-hosted with us on Happy Hour a bunch in the past few months before he left, and he's a good crypto mind there too. Just so many great minds in the Hex ecosystem. It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. He's one of the people that when he speaks, I listen, and I think I saw him first, probably, on the Happy Hour. And I met him, actually. He was here. He was in London for a bit, and then he's flown off to, I think he's in Sicily or somewhere like that at the moment. He's coming back again to London, so hopefully I get to see him again. Nice. But yeah, man, when you hear people like you or like Randy and people with you know, who are classed as veterans in crypto, in finance and stuff. Really, again, it's kind of like what Richard says. It's the simple things, right? Everyone wants the liquidity plays or this pair, and a lot of the time it's buying, holding, staking, and being very patient.
Yep. Yeah, and it's like the staking feature that you just brought up. That's kind of like a younger person's, you know, yield generator in a sense, because you know, the older you get, you look forward to, you know, say dividend stock plays and stuff like that. So something with high yield, REITs, things like that, which is all well and good. I mean, there's some things that pay very well, but they don't pay like crypto yield. And yeah, at least Hex yield. I mean, I know it's going to take a while for PulseChain to actually have, you know, meaningful yield, but I'm curious to see what happens with on the PulseX side. You know, you kind of, I think Dollar Cost likes to talk the infinity stones of like all the coins, but you know, you make like a separate glove in a sense, and you have Hex on Ethereum, PulseChain, PulseX, liquid loans. I mean, how many coins are out there that you can generate passive income in? It's going to be absolutely wild, and I can't wait for it to get started.
Absolutely. So in regards to adoption for PulseChain, do you think the full system state copy is enough that people are just going to start flocking over, or how do you think it gets adoption just from the next bull market?
I think it's going to be a combination of how many projects there are initially that are coming from the outside. And then I think Dollar Cost has mentioned this, and a few others. It's like, you know, products like Decentraland, for instance, something that's, you know, really not cost efficient on Ethereum. Could something like that actually come over to PulseChain and, you know, severely benefit? Would their devs understand, you know, how about NFTs, the cost of those? And Richard got into that yesterday on the stream. You know, it's like, okay, well, you have two sets. You know, you don't want to be caught holding the wrong one. So that's an interesting dynamic that, you know, just another layer in this whole thing. So it's a bunch, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's so many different. I mean, there's so much speculation we can do on what's going to happen, and there's so many different things that can make it pop. It's so exciting. I mean, we talk about it a lot. We've been talking about it for a year, but the full system state copy to me is just amazing. That people are. It's one of the best marketing things I think you could have, because, you know, people love free stuff, and they already bought Chainlink or NFTs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they're like, well, hang on, flick a switch in MetaMask, and I can just go over there. And like I've said before, even if they just want to come over and say, oh, I'm going to dump this, then they start seeing that the fast transaction times and, you know, the cheap fees and what's not. So yeah, it really is anyone's guess.
Yeah, and if you're trying to game it again, I wouldn't try to do that. I keep looking over my shoulder here because there's a group of dolphins out there. So if you see them, like,
oh wow,
yeah, over here, you might see a couple fins come up eventually.
They're that close to the beach?
Oh yeah, they're going right up. But I don't know if they'll come out. That'd be a cool little thing there if you saw that. But, yeah, that's why I was looking. Sorry, didn't mean to, you know, get distracted. But it's the first time I've seen them here, so I was like, "What? Cool." Oh,
I'll let you off. Dolphins right by you live on stream.
Yeah. So they're a little ways out there. They were pretty close, but you might see them way out there. Depends on how good the camera is. But yeah, I think it's a mixed bag, really. I think it's just because of kind of like the things I was bringing up there. It's like, okay, well, you might have some NFT guys come over, depending upon, you know, what kind of cost-intensive projects are on Ethereum that want to escape that. Maybe they come over. We already have, I think, what is it, over 100 projects being built on PulseChain. At least I saw, you know, one of the accounts that tracks those. So it's being built on. But I don't know if there's a good answer for that. I think it's just a guess. It's a great question. I'm really excited to see what, you know, teams might in fact come over. So.
What about Richard's marketing? Obviously, some people are on board with the outrage marketing. Others are super turned off by it. Do you think it's having its effect?
I enjoy it. We talked about this a couple times on Happy Hour. Big K Big K is like the biggest fan of it, which I could totally see and get, knowing him. I'm a fan of it. It's getting new eyeballs, which is the idea, right? So I don't think, I'm not going to say for sure, but it'd be interesting to see if Charles Payne, that interview on Fox Business, would have occurred without the outrage marketing.
Yeah.
It occurred in that time about it. And if you saw the tweets going back and forth between Richard and Charles, Charles is like, bring those watches on. So he had seen, the merch, the gaudiness, and the riches, and he remembered it, and likely because of that outrage marketing, we're seeing that, and you're not going to reach the same people, banging on the same doors. You gotta do different things. I am totally fine with it because I in my opinion, I'm seeing results. And I guess he tweeted out yesterday he might be interviewed by who knows, but a reporter, so he was gathering sources and things like that. And people see this. It's stuff to talk about, especially in a bear market. Maybe that's part of adds to the outrage, if you will, and more people will want to talk to him. So
yeah, well, he's definitely not blending in with the wallpaper with the rest of the crypto founders. So I think Charles, I think on Twitter, Charles said something about the watches, right? Bring the watches on if you come on or something like that. So what did you think of the interview?
I loved it. You can always Monday morning quarterback such a thing because the time slots are so quick. I think it was like less than 5 minutes, which is a typical, hit on one of those shows. But I wish he would have come back against the email spam $500 fine with, oh, well, if you think that's funny, I raised $27 million for charity kind of thing. And Richard said that right after on Twitter. He had finished the interview, but otherwise, I mean, I think it was a great first step. I'd love to see him on again. And you can't, you can't pack all the great sound bites and nuggets of a Richard Hart 2-hour, 3-hour live stream into a 5-minute interview where you may not know all the questions in advance. So I have a feeling he was answering some of those on the fly, if not all the things. And it is what it is. But more of these appearances, he's going to know right off the, top of mind, if that $500, fine thing comes up again, this is the go-to. This is how you respond to it immediately. Wipe it. Done. Next. So I think it's just going to get better, and he's just super intelligent. So he will, learn and grow, and he's just going to excel at this too, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, network television, they give you minutes, don't they?
Yep.
And obviously Richard's used to like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it's you just have to, I guess, be short, succinct, and learn from that and adjust and come back. Going back to like the talk about the scam or whatever, the $500 in Washington that he should have paid.
Spam King.
Spam King, that's it. Spam King, compared to not mentioning $27 million raised by for charity. Why do you think that places like Cointelegraph and all these other places it's just radio silence on any of that? Just because Hex isn't paying them like other
I think that's exactly why. And I'm sure that when haters found out that Charles Payne was having Richard on, I'm sure Hexkins, you saw it, like the tweets blew up. He got Charles Payne. I'm talking about Charles Payne, got great engagement on it. He even mentioned it, on the show, I believe, and, the feedback that he was getting. But you can also bet that he got blown up by the haters. And that's where, that Spam King crap came from. And so as a reporter, as a, financial media person, I think he's obligated to ask things like that because it's like, hey, is this true? What is this kind of thing? You're a Spam King. And then you find out on air, it's like a $500 fine. It's like, what? Okay. You got duped into asking something to where you could have spent that valuable time, possibly getting better information out of your guest. So,
But I think it's still good because, there's nothing really to hide. So it's good. It's addressed. It's out in the open.
Yeah. And it's on record. It's on national TV. And he put it to bed. I mean, there's in my opinion, it's over. It's done. He answered it. It's what more do you want? Let's talk about real stuff now. Yeah.
When he says the story, like it would have cost me more to fly. I think he was living in Florida at the time, right? It would have cost me more to fly across the country to defend myself, and you can't pay a lawyer to represent you in a small claims court. Then,
yep.
Who wouldn't have done the same?
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I think everybody could understand that. Anybody with a sensible mind who can actually, isn't blinded by rage and hate for Hex could understand that. So.
But that's where the confirmation bias comes in, I guess, like we saw with Cody as well, right? Where it's like they've already made their mind up and it doesn't matter anymore. It's like, I want to pick and choose the information. So I'll pick this thing about, the spam king, or this thing about where did the ETH go, and I won't let it go, and I won't, it doesn't matter what's presented to me.
Where did the ETH go? Who is the OA? How many coins do you have? And I thought that was another thing that came up, actually, and I thought he did a great job. He's like, well, if, I'm doing my analysis correctly, I'm looking right at it, the OA's never sold. Next. Let's go.
Yeah, man, it was good. It was really good. Hopefully we start to see more of that, and obviously getting onto bigger platforms. I know people have been trying to get him on Rogan and Lex Friedman and what's not. So what happened with Lex Friedman? He was meant to get on with him, right?
Yeah, I think that was the fault of our own wonderful community. Hexkins are outstanding and sometimes overly passionate. So I believe it was Lex Friedman's Twitter that got, I don't know what the proper term is, raided or something like comment spammed by Hexkins. I think it was like a coordinated effort on social media, and he just got pissed off, blocked a bunch of Hexkins, and then stopped the pursuit, if you will, of Richard. I know Richard, was like, hey, we can do it virtually. This is like, we're in 2022 now, I'm right here. And I think it's also great that he could say, hey, I was on Fox Business and I didn't have to fly to New York to do it. I just, we can do this. So hopefully that's, another thing he can put in his cap and be like, okay, do I really need to fly to Austin or wherever Lex is? But it'd be cool if he did. I'd love to see it. And maybe, he's got a time. I'm talking about Richard, time in his mind when, he wants to pursue that again, because he definitely had Lex's attention. And I don't think that would necessarily go away. I know, again, like we were talking with Charles Payne. Charles Payne, I'm sure, his inbox got blown up with a bunch of hate and stuff like that. And I know Lex Friedman did, because you could see it in the Twitter threads, when he had mentioned just the mention of Richard Hart in one of his intros for his interviews. This is when he started his crypto series. He was like, oh, I will be... I would like to interview, some of the bigger players in crypto, Vitalik, and, he listed off a few, and he said Richard Hart. And I'm not sure if it was Twitter or the YouTube comments, but they just blew up. Why would you have Richard on? Oh, Richard scammer. It's like these butthurt plebs, bro. It's like, just stop. Like, you've been proven wrong so hard for years now. Like, you literally have nothing to stand on.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the tribalism in crypto. I mean, obviously, you see tribalism everywhere, right? In sports.
Oh, absolutely.
In diet and fitness, in obviously religion or cultures. People like, what I'm doing is the best. But in crypto, man, you can be proved wrong with facts, because obviously the charts don't lie, the return on investments don't lie, but you still get these idiots like McCormack or whatever saying, oh, has the Ponzi run out of new buyers and what's not? And it's like, it will be really fun one day to rub it in their face.
It's fun now, but it's not as fun as it will be at all-time highs, because even stupid people like that can understand all-time highs on the chart. What they can't stand, or what should I say? What they can't understand, or what they fake in understanding, or they just fake through it and be like, ignore it. They ignore the fact that Hex pretty much started at zero, surpassed Bitcoin, XYs, and made insane gains for Hex holders. They fail to acknowledge that. It's just like, oh well, all the price charts are going down. Look, Hex is down too. Oh my gosh, man! It doesn't end. But I think the next all-time highs, if we see it here in this next cycle over the coming years, will hopefully shut more of them up. You're never going to shut everybody up, I don't think, but maybe at some point. I mean, price performance and overperformance has to speak to something ultimately in the end to everybody. You can't deny it. I mean, especially people love to moan about market cap, and I think market cap does have some psychological weight in terms of how people invest. But at the same time, if Hex is number one in market cap over Bitcoin and Ethereum years from now, you have nothing left. Yeah. I mean, in my mind, the haters have nothing left now, just because I can understand where we came from and where we are, but they will literally have nothing left if Hex passes both of those. And could you imagine Hex on 2 chains passing those? I'm not saying it will, but man, if that happened. And then PulseChain, it's just so many possibilities in the coming years. It's going to be a fun ride.
Hex, PulseChain, PulseX, like 1, 2, and 3 or something. Can you imagine, Tone Vase or Peter McCormack? Could they be, yeah. Knowing them, though, they'd probably still try and get out of it somehow.
Yeah, and they're mainly Bitcoin maximalists that will never budge. At least you have guys like Crypto Ran and BitBoy, Ivan on Tech. At least those guys bit the bullet, or however you want to say it, and sacked for PulseChain. Like, they're admitting it, and you know what? It wouldn't shock me if we see videos after Pulse launches of them talking about it, especially BitBoy, because they're going to want to shill their bags. Hopefully they just don't turn it over instantly in the moment it goes live. They swap out of it. I would certainly hope, and at least for a guy like BitBoy, content creation's sake, I would think he'd want to hold that, keep his interest, talk about it, because in my mind, it's clearly not going anywhere once it launches. And the amount of content that he can generate from PulseChain and certain coins on PulseChain, possibly, and certain projects yet to be launched on PulseChain, why not? It's free content ideas, for your 1 million subs or however many number count he has. So I don't know.
He's definitely been saying a lot more positive stuff about Richard recently. I think, like you said, he knows where it's going. And a year ago, obviously, we had PulseChain, this new layer 1 was coming out. But like you said, now we have over 100 projects building on there and are going to be released. So it's a whole ecosystem in itself, right? So it's going to be really interesting. What about you, man? What are your goals, and what are your goals for the channel for 2022 and beyond?
I don't really know about goals for the channel. Like, summers are a weird time for me, just because I travel. So like this year I've done like destination happy hour. That's like, we started it like a couple weeks ago. So even if I'm at the beach or on vacation, I still love to interact with the community. Like I'm on Twitter. I always say, this is where I come to kind of like think and plot world domination, jokingly. But I think about markets and different stuff with my business and things like that. It's just, that's why I love it so much out here. It's just like the clarity that you get sitting here. I don't just like sit and like pass out in the sun and veg out. Like, I'm usually just staring out the waves or floating and thinking about different opportunities and things like that. So I'm very competitive in nature. But yeah, in terms of the show, man, just growing the audience. I mean, I see new people in the chat all the time. There's probably, it depends upon the cycle too, right? So in a bull market, you're going to get a lot more viewers consistently than in a bear. So I've noticed, bears go down a little bit, but we're still getting, maybe a couple hundred live viewers at a time. When we started, it was like 40. So it's like slowly going up over time. And if people love the vibe, they hang around. I see the same people in the chat every week. It's kind of like our own little typically Friday hangout. Sometimes it's on Thursday, depending upon travel and whatnot. But man, I want to keep it going. I certainly don't want to go off air or anything like that. Like I'm, with this family for years and years to come, and it's just a fun thing to do. Not just the show, but meeting people in person. Like I was saying, Big K threw out the first pitch in at the Chicago Cubs game a month ago, and which is literally seems like last week. Like time flies right now. But meeting, so many Hexagons that I already met before, like Black Hexagon, Nardo, hung out with, did the trip with Freddie, quotes. So that was awesome. And Hexagon 720, all those I had already met before. And then to get to meet like a Marion, Valiant Brand, and so many other, cool people that, a lot to name. But it was so like Big K's mom. They're like, what? It's so cool, man. And she was like, yeah, I watch Happy Hour. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, man, it's all about the community. So I hopefully everything, the world stays as it is with no more, restrictions, and we all get to meet very, very soon.
Yeah, and to ride out the bear too. I mean, it's there's a lot of, like, we start off the show. There's so many informative Hex channels out there. That's awesome. But at the same time, it is. I do keep in mind it's a bear market, and it's cool to bring just like a chill, fun, casual vibe every now and then. It's not like staring at charts and analysis. We do some of that. We do. I'll have a theme show. We'll talk specifically PulseChain with great minds like Orca and K4K and stuff like that. And Funding Jim will chime in on that. He'll chime in on Hex conversation. So those are great. And then recently, if I'm out here, I'm not at my desk. I'm a planner, so I like to, at least plan a lot of things. If we do trivia and stuff like that, I tend to, take a little time to do that. And it's a fun thing, but I'm usually at my desk doing that. Out here, it's like, I don't really have the time to do all of that planning. So these shows are more kind of like a casual, just a sit down chat. Last show we had like David Feeder on, Hexy Bastard. It's just a fun, chill, funny vibe, and people create memes, gifs, and all that stuff. I guess you saw the Hexy Bastard stuff from last show. So I mean, it's in a bear market. In my mind, I like doing stuff like that. Like I want my mind not necessarily on price all the time. We kind of know what we have by now, and the next news cycle is going to come, perhaps in a couple months, perhaps within the year. And when that comes, we're going to get a whole new rush of content analysis, because things will be up and running then. You're going to be able to review, what happened, not instead of forward looking, like what is actually going on in real time now. And that's why this ecosystem is so great for content, because even in the bear market, you have opportunities like recent weeks to chat with great minds, but in the future, knowing what's coming, PulseChain, PulseX, even projects like Liquid Bones, Hedron, Maxi. There's going to be so much to talk about. We're just in this waiting phase right now.
Oh man, exactly. It's every time we talk about it, it's easy to become complacent and think about PulseChain and PulseX and Liquid Loans is coming. But when you really think about what it's going to bring, it's going to be super exciting. Listen, dude, this has been really cool, and I've really enjoyed myself. Having a chilled out chat with you one-on-one. Before I let you go, are you up for our quick fire questions that I do with all my guests these days?
Oh, 5 questions. All right, let's go.
8 questions. 8 quick fire questions. You can give me 1 word up to 1 sentence reply. That's it.
Oh, I'm limited. Do I get time to think about it?
You can think about it, but still, just no rambling.
All right.
Number 1, best piece of advice you were ever given.
Oh, man. Does that count as a sentence? No. Best piece of advice ever given. I've heard a bunch. I guess, like, when my dad was around, like, right before he passed, he said, pretty much just go for it. So I had that in mind. And sometimes in life, man, I went for it, and I wouldn't be there if I didn't. So go for it.
That's why I love you Americans, man. You have that enterprising spirit. Just go for it. Go big. Seriously, much more than us Brits. You guys go big.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so, man. I've got my own theory on it. I think that a lot of people that went over to America, obviously from Europe, they were the brave ones, right? And a lot of the maybe. Oh, can you still hear me? There you go. You're back.
Yeah, I just because I'm on phone. Somebody tried to call, of course. So go ahead.
Oh, no worries. We're nearly done. But yeah, my theory is I think a lot of the people, that went over from Europe to America, I think they were the ones with the braver, more enterprising mindsets. And I just think Americans have a much more entrepreneurial, let's go big. So that's a good bit of advice. Number 2, favorite food?
Tacos.
Number 3, first ever crypto you bought?
Litecoin.
Number 4, biggest celebrity teenage crush?
Oh my goodness. See, I want to date myself. Late teens, I guess, counts as college. Jessica Simpson.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. Jessica Simpson. All right, there we go.
Yeah. 5, number 1 piece of advice for no coiners?
Get in. I'd love to explain it. I mean, there's more to it, but you don't know what you're missing out on until you at least try the ecosystem and see what it can hold for you.
Number 6, one thing you haven't done yet, but you must do, something from the bucket list.
Go to, I think it's called Eczema Islands in Bahamas, the ones where you can just like walk out for like a mile and be up, clear water up to your knees, something like that. So that's I haven't done that yet. Okay,
well, it doesn't surprise me that it's something to do with the beach. Beautiful.
I like to see different things, man.
Yeah. Beautiful clear water. It doesn't surprise me with that backdrop, to be honest. Yeah. Number 7, worst investment you ever made?
I'll just use a class of assets. Penny stocks. Don't do it. Never do it. Worst thing to happen in my investing history. Fortunately, as we talked earlier, it was early, so I learned, but don't do it. Penny stocks are like the shittiest of shit coins. So no.
And last but not least, number 8, advice to your younger self.
Don't give a shit about what other people think about you. Or don't let the haters get to you. Something like that, because you waste so much mental capital worrying about pleasing others to where you could, block that out of your life and out of your mind, and again, preserve that mental capital for yourself.
Awesome, man. Listen, this has been super fun. Tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Cabana Crypto. Where is it? On all platforms. I mean, like literally everything. So most active on Twitter, Instagram stories. Actually just had a TikTok intern, if you will, do a TikTok video today. So check out Cabana Crypto on TikTok. Nice. It's just like, some of the nature preserve stuff that I was checking out earlier. Pretty much everywhere. And cabanacrypto.com will take you straight to the YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming on. I do appreciate your time, and we'll have to do it again at some point.
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much. And just great chilling and chatting with you finally after months of trying to put this together. So it's awesome.
I know. And what an amazing day. What an amazing backdrop. Amazing all around.
Yeah, I was happy. Like the weather held out, and it fits the thumbnail or the YouTube title, at least, chilling on the beach or something. So yeah, we got to do it. The best weather today. Like it has not been this good. So awesome.
Awesome, man. Take it easy.
You too, bro.
The man, the myth, the legend. Definitely go and follow Cabana on all the social media channels. He's even on TikTok now, but definitely check out the Happy Hour every Friday. I think it's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, if you like content like this, do hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you're notified every time we drop new videos on the channel. You can also tap the like button, share the video with someone who you think it may benefit. And if you're watching the playback, drop a cheeky comment below for the algo. It does help us out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.